Mr. Speaker, this government is ruining Canada's future. With nonchalance, this government has wasted a great deal of money on universal programs. But let's think about our seniors over 65 who have been abandoned, and now the problem is access to housing. Canadians aren't being helped to pay their rent. There has been a mind-boggling increase in housing costs. We need to act now. What immediate action will this government take to stop the problem and to give some hope to Canadian citizens? The Honourable Minister.
Let me remind the member that it was a Conservative's plan for seniors to prolong the age of retirement from 65 to 67. Mr. Speaker, the first things we did as a government, we reversed that and gave seniors the benefits that they're entitled to. We also raised the GIS for single seniors, increased the old age security, enhanced the CPP, invested billions into housing and home care, Mr. Speaker. We've always had their backs and will continue to deliver for seniors now and into the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Stormont Dundas, South Glengarry.
Mr. Speaker, sadly, Eastern Ontario provides the perfect example of how the Liberals have mismanaged the housing file under their watch. In 5 years, the average price of a home in the Cornwall area has doubled to over $400,000. The Liberals boast that their plan is working, but the problem is only getting worse, not better. A realtor told me that one house in Cornwall recently had 13 offers in just 4 days and got way over the asking price. As housing prices keep skyrocketing in this country, when will the Liberals realize that their plan to flood the market with cheap cash just isn't working?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives face a leadership problem on this issue. They have never spoken about affordable housing. They didn't invest adequately in all their time in office. In their election campaign platform, the word affordable housing did not show up. Neither did it show up in their opposition House motion. We've invested more than any other government. We brought the National Housing Strategy into existence. We're investing to make sure that there's more supply in the market, and we will continue to work with all provinces, territories, and the municipal and non-profit sector to ensure every Canadian has a safe and affordable place to call home.
Member for Langley Aldergrove.
Mr. Speaker, I'm deeply concerned that young families across Canada are giving up the dream of ever owning a home. Nowhere is this more true than in Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley, the epicenter of Canada's housing affordability crisis. People like Allison in my riding, who just in the last year saw house prices increase by more than the amount of money she and her partner were able to save up for a down payment, are falling further behind through no fault of theirs. When will this government get to work tackling the real problem, inflation?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, every time that we've brought a measure into the House to help Canadians through programs like the Canada Housing Benefit to help people with rent, the first-time homebuyer incentive, the Rapid Housing Initiative, and many, many other housing programs as part of the National Housing Strategy, every single time the Conservatives have voted against those measures. Yet they stand here today pretending to care about affordable housing solutions for Canadians. We can see through their rhetoric. We will continue to work to make sure that we build on our record investments in housing and continue to make sure that the National Housing Strategy succeeds for Canadians.
The Honourable Member for Carleton Trail, Eagle Creek.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That minister's ability to revise history is absolutely remarkable. Housing prices are rising out of reach, especially for young people and new Canadians. To date, the average price across Canada is over $720,000, with big city averages over $1 million. This government's policies are causing record inflation, reducing the ability of working Canadians to save for a down payment. Will this government put the brakes on its out-of-control spending, get serious about inflation, and implement measures to make the dream of owning a home a reality?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what is remarkable is the astronomical gap between the Conservative rhetoric and their voting record. They voted against every single measure to build more affordable housing, to put more money in the pockets of Canadian renters to help them pay with the rent, to build more housing for the most vulnerable, and yes, to allow more young Canadians to access their dream of home ownership through the first-time homebuyer incentive. So instead of offering leadership, they vote against affordable housing policies every single time, yet get up in the House of Commons and pretend to care about housing. We see through their rhetoric, and so do Canadians.
Honorable député de Salaberry-sur-Roi.